a small technical difficulty, but here we are, and hopefully it's working. Tonight we are talking about round. Because I'm super excited. 30 Days to Round is officially kicking off on Sunday, and we've already had a lot of people signing up, a lot of people already seeing progress, which is always amazing to see. That just like in a few days, they're like, oh, my horse is softer, my horse is more forward, my horse is rounder. So that's super exciting. And we did
how's that happening?
Because they're already starting to work on the exercises.
Oh, because they signed up early.
Yes, on Sunday. So it happens that fast. The exercises are that good that you start like changing what you're doing with your horse and you get a different result. You say that all the time.
If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting.
Yes.
Or as Albrecht would say, if you don't like the way your horse is going, change the way you ride it.
But that's part of what I love about horses and riding and training is that they're so honest that when you change what you're doing, they like instantly change versus people take a lot longer to change, right?
Right. Horses are just more straight up. Just, okay, if you do this, I'll do that. No problem.
Yes. Awesome. So hi, Betsy. Hi, Molly. I know you guys are in 30 Days to Round. So what I thought we'd do tonight is the plan is that we're going to be sharing a quick little video of some of our past students because the transformations are always amazing to see.
That's really the hard part about at the end of the challenge is you go, okay, well, because there's so many people who do so well.
Yeah. Watching all the videos and picking the winners, but it's also really fun to see everyone working hard and like trying hard. And the challenges are so motivational. Like they're just a time to really focus on your riding, focus on your horse, work at it. And then it's amazing what you can accomplish. And when I first did the 30 Day to Round challenge, I was skeptical. Like, really, can you get your horse round in 30 days? But it's amazing what you can accomplish.
Right. Some do, and some just learn a ton.
Yeah. But
it still counts.
Yeah. And it's like, it's a kickstart. Like the 30 Days to Round is a kickstart for training that then will continue after the 30 days. But when you really focus on it and when you really follow the system, you'll be amazed with what you can accomplish during the 30 days. So let's start off with some videos. These are some videos from our past students. So hopefully now, okay, you should be able to see my screen. And this is always fun. So at the end of the challenge, we pull some little clips from our students. I don't know why it's cut you off. Sorry, come on. Let's try. Okay, there we go. We don't want to cut off your face. So this is like the before, after, right? Here's the before, like reins long, kind of having trouble steering. Okay, horse like throwing his head up in the air, wrong lead, after. Like that's pretty amazing difference, isn't it? Before, you can see the under neck muscle on that horse, and then after, the horse is way softer. And then these are just some of our other students.
Dressage for all.
Dressage for all. So everyone type that in the chat, dressage for all, because that is, you know, what this challenge is about. It's about you with your horse, and everyone is different, right? Everyone has different arenas and different colored horses and different backgrounds and different breeds. And it's just so cool to see the changes in everyone. That's what I think is really cool. So let us know in the chat what breed your horse is and what age your horse is, what color your horse is, because again, I think that for me, that's part of what's really fun about the challenge is seeing all these different breeds. Let me stop sharing. Like all the different breeds, all the different levels of riders, all the different countries that we have. We have always like amazing people in the Middle East, people in Asia. Where else have we had people?
Well, we have them in Europe too, which is it's just amazing.
Oh, Australia. We have someone here from Australia, which is very cool. Yeah, Europe is amazing.
Right, because they have rather a significant equine community all across Europe. And so it's
amazing.
Humbling that they're watching too.
Yeah. But I think what makes 30 Days to Round really special is that it's broken down into steps. So it really is a system where it's like, if you follow the exercises, do this, do that, do the next thing, your horse will start to get round. Whereas in a lesson, a lot of times we hear like rounder, get your horse rounder, but then you're like, how do I get my horse rounder? Like my horse is stiff. My horse isn't listening. How do I get my horse rounder? Okay. So I briefed Herman earlier that we're going to be sharing some slides tonight. This is going to be our first group effort at doing a slideshow together.
So,
okay. So
let it ride.
I had him review the slides and he's promised that he has interesting things to say about the slides.
All right, you're overselling it.
Okay, first thing is roundness. Roundness is the secret to riding. Why is roundness the secret to riding?
It makes your horse soft and balanced.
It makes your horse fun to ride, right? I mean,
right, he becomes more maneuverable, he's more with you, he's more relaxed, all of those things.
Yeah.
When you're riding a 2x4, not so nice.
And they're safer to ride too.
Yes.
Like when your horse is round.
Yeah, because that throughness, when they're stiff, they've already got 1 foot out of the barn.
Yeah. So roundness creates a flow of energy so that you can ride with harmony and balance. And I really like this picture because it's a good
because it's pretty ideal.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
But I think it's a good reminder that roundness isn't just about the neck, that it really starts from the hind end and then the back and then to the hand. And that's where I think, at least for me, sometimes I get overly fixated on the neck or what my hands are doing.
Yeah.
And forgetting that the reason we ride round is because of the hind end and the back.
And well, 2 things. One, because I'm riding a little light with my foot at the moment. I could really feel myself more with my seat, which was really terrific because it showed me how much I was using, pressing against the stirrups and not sitting as deep as I should.
Yeah.
And then the other one is there where it says the engaged hind end. That is the rotation of the pelvis under, right? It tucks under. So if you've got problems envisioning the engagement, it's that the pelvis is rotating.
And then when you get this change physically in your horse, it also changes your horse mentally.
And then do another thing. So if you look at the corner of the saddle pad and then the hind leg, see how that hoof is right underneath that? That's what we're looking for.
I don't know. I think they can see my cursor. Yeah, you can see.
If not, they've got the picture. But if you look at the corner of the saddle pad and where that hoof is, then you know that the pelvis is rotated and that inside hind leg there is coming up.
Right. Because the horses up here, this is their SI joint. That's like at the top of their croup. And they can rotate that really under. So probably where you felt this happen is if your horse goes poo under saddle.
Yeah, if they're going to manure, you can feel that back come up. And that's the feeling.
Yeah. And that's what you want to have. Like that's what the feeling that you want for roundness. So if we look at this is the flip side of that.
This is a hammock that we're sitting in.
So this is when your horse is hollow, which is not good.
And so when you look at that picture, and then you can see, again, the hind leg isn't really close to that saddle pad because the hind leg's pretty much just coming up and down, and it's not reaching forward because the back isn't round. There's no arch. The silhouette isn't arched. And Sue, not comfortable for the rider and certainly not comfortable for the horse either.
And then mentally, your horse, because it's not comfortable for them. They tend to be more distracted.
Defensive is the biggest one.
That's true. Defensive too.
Then they start looking around, and the reason that they're inattentive is because they're not feeling safe, and so they're looking for the danger.
Yeah. And sometimes, we want to be good to our horses. We want to be nice to our horses. And we think we're doing them a favor by not asking them to get round.
Right, I hear that a lot about, oh, I don't want to have heavy hands. I don't have heavy hands, but heavy hands and being round aren't related.
You got to get your horse round and then be soft.
Yes.
That's the goal. That's like self-carriage. That's what we want from our horses.
It's not synonymous. Short reins or heavy hands, that's not synonymous with round. Round doesn't involve heavy hands or strong hands.
Right. Okay, so what we show you in 30 Days to Round is we really show you a step-by-step system. And it's a system that's worked for thousands of riders. We've had, the number that we came up with was 2,519 riders have done 30 Days to Round. So it is a step-by-step system that really will work. And we've dubbed all of our riders in 30 Days to Round our round riders. So let me know in the chat.
Round rider. You remember that with the red rider?
If you are a round rider, are you going to tell them the red rider story?
Red rider. Whatever. So we were at the horse show in Del Mar at the racetrack.
Fairgrounds.
At the fairgrounds, at the racetrack. And who were you on?
I was on Gatsby.
Gatsby.
A little chestnut Jazz who was kind of crazy.
Spooky and nutty. And so then over the PA system, while Amelia's doing her test, they're like calling a race. And the guy is screaming in the PA system, red rider, coming around turn 3. And then it's coming around turn 4. And old Gatsby wasn't having any of it.
Okay. But so round rider this is funny too, because when I was like, I'm going to make everyone in 30 Days to Round be round riders. And Nicole from my team, she's like, I don't think anyone's going to be glad that they're round. Like no one's happy to be round. But I was like, no, it's great because it's like the only time you can be proud of being round is when your horse is round.
Yep.
So we're all round riders. Betsy says she's a round rider. All right, Betsy. Awesome. Good for you. And then, this is a slide from the webinar on Sunday. How long have you been trying to get your horse on the bit? How long have you been trying to get your horse round? There were a lot of people that said forever.
Yeah.
Or years. Because it's
difficult.
It's hard. And it's also something that you're never really done with. You get your horse rounder. And then you want them rounder, and then you want them it's a progression.
That collection, the roundness from second level, isn't the same as the Grand Prix.
Right. And so it's a process of getting your horse's musculature and understanding and strengthening their top line, and then adding in movements and keeping your horse round in movements and keeping your horse round in transitions.
Ooh, that's hard.
It's just like a process.
The transitions are
right. Hard. But it does work. So here's one of our students. This is Kara on her off the track thoroughbred, which we always have a lot of different breeds, off the track thoroughbreds, ponies.
And some breeds are easier to get round than others.
Yeah. But look at this transformation. Okay. So the horse on the left, that's her before picture. I would not want to ride that horse.
No part of me looks at that and goes, that's going to be fun.
Right. But then on the right, the horse looks so much softer. She says that she started to relax and become supple and become balanced, which is so cool. That's the purpose of everything we do with our horses, is that we want them to become relaxed and supple. And then ultimately, when your horse is round, they're safer. Wouldn't you agree? Betsy, no, we're having a serious talk here. The dog isn't helping.
Yeah, because the round creates a more relaxed mental state. And so then your horse is just easier to ride. They're more with you. They're better on the aids, all of those things.
Yeah. And then we talked about this a little bit, the biomechanics of roundness. But horses are already on the forehand just because their head
and neck way more than the tail.
Right.
Not only that, they're also designed, they push off with their fronts. When the alligator comes out of the creek or whatever, right? They push the front end up, and then the hind leg starts going.
I never thought about that.
They because they got to get the shoulder up out of the way. So that first starts, and then the hind legs go. We teach them to start the transitions on the hind leg because of that balance, that self-carriage. Then we can make the transition start with the hind leg. But their natural state is they push off in the front.
And then, of course, when we sit on them, we put even more weight on their forehand because we're positioned more up here at the withers, right? You want to sit up here. You don't want to sit back there on your horse's kidneys where there's no support.
And they don't like it.
But when you sit up here, now you're putting even more weight on your horse's forehand. So that's why we really want to get this happening. So we want an engaged hind end and a lifted back so that our horse's muscles create an arch. An arch is a very strong structure versus over here on the left is a suspension bridge.
The suspension bridge, the one that you crawl across when you're walking over some river.
Right.
It's all swinging.
We don't want to be doing that when we're riding our horses. We really want our horses to be this way so that it's more comfortable for them and it's also more comfortable for us.
Yeah.
When they're round like that. And this is, oh, you haven't seen this before. So these are my scores. That's a horse, my first lease horse, Indy. That's my first horse, Achilles. These are my scores. Look, I was getting 57%, 56%, 57%. But we've all been there. And I wanted to just share that because I think, you know, you maybe see us today and you're like, oh, like they just make it look so easy. But we've all been there with like struggling with this.
I think I win. I can't remember. I think either I got a 42 or a 48.
Yeah.
He reared a lot through the whole test.
Yeah. Not good. But you know, the good news is that when you learn the system and the more you ride and the more you show, the easier it gets. So one thing that I've certainly learned the hard way is that kicking and pulling, driving your horse onto the bit does not work. Have you ever felt like you were just doing that with a horse?
Yes. It was a long time ago. I've learned things since then.
But I feel like this is something that's maybe not taught very well in dressage, is because we've all heard that before, like drive your horse onto the bit. That's
and hold the rein until they give.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean hold the rein? You've got to supple them.
Right.
Hold the rein until they give.
And I think that that's also where a lot of horses get really confused. You've probably heard me talk about my horse Geronimo, and he started rearing because of this, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was working with a dressage trainer and it was too much pressure. It was too much driving him onto the bit to try to get him rounder, and it was missing steps. And then he got frustrated, he got scared, and he started rearing. So let me know in the chat, which of these is your horse? Is your horse hollow, curled, uneven, fussy, strong, unhappy? Because that's another hard part, is that every horse is different. Like they all start off different in the contact or different in their shape or different conformations. And then you have to figure out how to work with your horse.
And how much is too much and how much is too little. I mean, they have to go forward, they have to bend. How much is too much and how much is too little?
We should talk about, though, because there was a question from the webinar that I missed on Sunday about like what is curled and why is it so bad?
But you've got a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah, right here. This picture here in the middle is curled. So you can see how his head is on his chest behind the vertical. And why is that bad?
Because once they learn how to hide behind the bit, they're not on the bit for starters, right? Then they learn how to hide back there and you can't ride them to the bit. So then the contact's never really honest. And not only that, there's also a problem with the pole, because then the pole comes too low. The third vertebrae becomes the highest point, and then that energy doesn't really cycle through your horse.
But the big problem is that you can't really get the hind end to engage or the back to lift. Remember the first photo?
It's all downhill.
Right. That if your horse is curled, so if the if the head is behind the vertical, the hind legs are also going out
because the
behind
front
your
end's
horse.
down. It's all balancing.
So that's why you need, if your horse is curled, you got to get the pull up and the nose forward so that the hind leg can come under.
Yes.
And through.
And he gives some, well, because then the shoulder has more freedom. So if the shoulder has more freedom and the withers can come up, then that front leg can get out of the way and let the hind leg come.
Yeah. And then if your horse is hollow, so hollow is where their head is way up and their nose is way forward and the back is down.
Right. And so then basically you've got legs out back and out front. They're not underneath balance. They're kind of that way.
And you've got your suspension bridge.
Yes.
Right. And hollow is bad again, because then the back isn't really lifting. And there are, so in 30 Days to Round, we have different training plans for all of these, because it is a little different to fix, like the approach you take with a horse that's curled is a little bit different than the approach that you would take with a horse that is hollow, or like it's a different approach. I see some people are saying that their horse is uneven in the contact. So how do we fix uneven horses in the contact?
The first thing is make sure your shoulders and your arms are loose and you're following that. That's what we did yesterday on the live from the barn.
Yeah.
You have to be elastic in your contact so that you can follow the horse's nod. If you've got those, my hands are quiet, I don't move them, my hands are quiet, then there's going to be tension, slack, tension, slack, tension, slack, because the neck is moving. So it's about an elastic feel so that you allow the horse to stretch into the contact. And so wherever the horse's head goes, the weight is the same in your hands.
But remember, so you taught me this. So remember how my horse Trumpet was really strong on the left rein.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just hold the left rein until he gave.
Right.
And that didn't work.
Never works.
So what did you tell me to do instead?
Hold the rein the horse doesn't want.
Yes.
And you give them it's like going to the gym. The right side of your horse, the right jaw, he doesn't hold the rein. So it's weaker there and he's strong left and he grabs hold of the bit and he leans on it. If I go to the gym and I do curls with my right arm, when does my left arm get stronger? Never. So you need to make that left side atrophy on the horse. So you give him that rein, and this is going to be in both directions, and you hold the rein the horse doesn't want.
And then you also have to use that leg. So it's, if your horse is heavy on the left rein, you need to use if your horse is heavy on the left rein, you need to use your left leg
and
to push your horse into, it's like the diagonal eight, left leg to
the
right
rein.
So we do need to, there are these different approaches because every horse is different, right? Some horses are too light, some horses are too heavy, some horses lean on the left rein, some horses lean on the right rein. You've got to get your horse even in the reins. And then what we want to have is the weight of a soda can. That's the ideal amount of weight. So let me know in the chat, how much weight do you have in your reins when you're riding? Is it more than a soda can? Is it less than a soda can? Do you feel like Popeye?
I'm going with less than a soda can.
For your horse?
No, not my horse, but like Poppy's less than that.
I think Poppy's too light. Sometimes she doesn't go to the bit.
She just, I know that. She doesn't really go into the bit. So I can't take more rein and make it heavier. She'll go behind my leg. I got to ride that to the front.
As you can tell, it's contact. But look, Karen
here's the thing.
That she worked on the elastic hands and remembered her mom's instructions, and it worked.
Was that from Tuesday or Wednesday when we did, or yesterday?
Probably.
When we did the Facebook Live at the barn?
Yeah.
But we're spending a lot of time talking about hands and contact and all that. And remember, that's 10% of the horse. There's still from the withers back, and that's your seat and your legs that really have to be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. We all fixate too much on our hands.
And that's just 10% of the deal. That's the horse's head you're talking to. Your body has got to talk to the horse's body.
Yes. Okay, let's go back to our slides, because now we are going to go over the 4 steps to round. And so for those of you who have signed up for 30 days to round, you know that these are like the 4 phases that we teach in the program. And there's a ton of exercises for you to do where we break it down step by step for each of these phases. But this really is the process that we've developed in working with less than perfect horses. Like, neither one of us have ever had perfectly trained Grand Prix horses. It's always been, we've always done.
Everything until this horse now has been somebody's discard for me. I've only ridden on other people's discards.
Right.
Horses that weren't going to make it, they didn't want them. That's been all the horses I've ever had.
And so that's made us really like develop a system that will work for any horse and that will work from the beginning and that will work to fix issues. So it's not I don't think anyone ever has like perfect horse because they go the way you ride them. And so if you don't know what you're doing, you kind of mess them up. But anyway, so here are the 4 phases of round. Let me get back to my screen share here. So again, this is what we teach in the 30 days to round challenge. And the first step is groundwork. Because people are always asking me like, oh, we want to see you riding like more difficult horses. And I always say,
well, we could have filmed me where I didn't do the groundwork and that horse looked really difficult.
Would you like to explain to everyone what happened and why you're limping on the live yesterday?
Because I didn't do groundwork. That's be the short version. And the worst thing about that,
oh boys,
is having to come home and go, I'm limping because I didn't do the groundwork.
After I told you to.
After you told me to do the groundwork.
Okay, but to be fair, it was a horse that had a history of bucking people.
Yeah, but he'd been going great for a month. I had the horse for a month and he'd been going great. I lunged him a couple of times in the beginning of the week and then boom, 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 I got on and we rode and it was all lovely. Then he had a day off and I was like, yeah, he'll be fine.
But the moral of the story is do your groundwork because 5 minutes of groundwork could save you like so much pain and suffering. Like think of all the time you wasted this week with like icing your ankle and wrapping it and limping around and feeling sorry for yourself. And if you'd just done 5 minutes of groundwork,
there'd have been a different thing. Yes.
So I've done that.
Yes, dear, you're right again.
But I've done that too. I didn't do groundwork and I got bucked off and broke my ribs and my collarbone like 2 weeks after we got married and then had to live in the lazy boy for a month. So we've all done it. But the point is that groundwork is such a valuable tool because it keeps you safe and it allows you to teach your horse the aids. Like you can teach your horse the aids from the ground.
Right. And then when you get on, the horse is like, oh, you're doing that thing again. And when you do that thing, I do this thing. Problem solved.
So pretty much any time that I have a horse that I'm struggling with in the connection, like on the right there, that's actually my new horse, Mick. And he would kind of get like defensive and want to run backwards. And like he had some things in the connection. And so I started with him on the ground because I didn't want him to have a pattern of doing bad things under saddle. Like you don't want your horse to learn to rear or to buck or to bolt, or like you want to avoid them learning that they can do that.
You don't ever want the horse to learn how big and strong it is. So everything we do needs to not educate them about how big and strong they are. Because if you don't teach them how big and strong they are, they won't know it.
Right. So groundwork is super important. It's definitely a skill. Let me know in the chat who here does groundwork, probably because I forced you to do it, because it's something that a lot of trainers don't teach or they skip over, or you're like, I just feel so awkward. I don't even know where to start. Like RJ says, what exercises do you do to start? All of that is in the program.
Yeah.
But it's an important skill for you to develop as a horseman, because the other thing is when you go to a horse show and your horse is kind of crazy, you need to be able to lead your horse around the property. You need to be able to get your horse in a trailer. You need to be able to take your horse to the wash rack. Like it's a very fundamental thing about being a horseman, is that you can control your horse on the ground.
Right. And that's, a lot of us take that for granted, that the horse is going to get in the trailer. Like you go and you go try a horse. You're going to go buy a horse and then you're going to have to get it to your house. And you assume that somebody spent the time and taught it how to go to a trailer and follow, and that's not always the case.
Yeah. And then the other reason is that for your horse, if we think about when we want them to be round, they have to bring their SI, lift up in their back. That's easier for them to do when our weight isn't pushing them down. Like your weight literally makes your horse hollow because you're forcing their vertebrae down. So if you can get your horse's back muscles up and supple and awake before you sit on them, then that's a lot better for your horse, right?
Absolutely. And then, but that's the thing. So once the horse already learns that, when you get on and do it, and he does it, he goes, oh, this is better.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so step one is you're going to do your groundwork, and it doesn't have to be a long time because I know we all want to get on, we all want to ride. This is one of our students, Leah, and she's doing groundwork for 5 minutes. And then she gets on and her horse is already loose, supple. She doesn't have that tight, cold backed feeling anymore. So even though it seems inconvenient, often it saves you time in the long run if you do a little bit of groundwork. Step two is forward.
Which that's why the groundwork and is so key, because once you get them unlocked, then you can go forward. You don't have a kink in your hose. Can't push on the tense horse.
Yeah. And again, remember that your hands aren't really what get your horse round. And that's the hard part.
They get them supple.
Yes.
And then the forward, but if you can't throw the reins away either, if you throw the reins away, the horse won't get round.
Right.
You've got to have the right amount of contact for that horse with the suppling and that drive from behind.
Yeah, for sure. And a big part of forward is how you use your aids and really making sure that you are effective with your leg aid and not nagging with your horse. Do we have any naggers here? Sometimes I'm a nagger, I'm going to admit. Sometimes I see pictures of myself and I'm like, why are my heels up? Why am I, nagging my horse?
Or maybe even sometimes when your husband is helping you on the side going, what are you doing there with that leg?
Maybe. We all need help. We all need reminders not to nag our horses, because the problem is if you nag, if you kick every stride, or if you clamp, or if you grip, your horse can't possibly be forward because your driving aids are ineffective. So,
and your leg is just tight when you're going nag, 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 right? People have asked me, what about that machine gun leg? But that's a different thing. That's quick, 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 done. And then you're soft.
Yes. So forward is first. And again, with roundness, some horses, you have to focus more on forward. So in 30 Days to Round, we have a special training plan for those of you who have more laid back horses that focuses more on forward. If your horse is super hot, then you
need a new plan.
Yes.
Or a different plan, not a new one, a different one.
So once we get our horses forward, then we don't want to start just pulling our horses around, because that's not going to be good either.
It doesn't work.
So our third step is bending. And I say that bending is the forgotten ingredient to round, because I think we all go from like forward, that's like driving our horse into the bit. And so bend really circumvents that buildup of pressure. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. It gets rid of that resistance.
Yeah. And
because it gives you access into the rib cage, and then you have one arc from croup to pull around your inside leg. And so it's a release for the horse. Like, I don't know, it's like a pressure point on a person where you get the muscles to let go. So they get around, the bend is croup to pull around the inside leg, and you can hear them go, you hear them snort, you hear them blow out that tension they've been holding.
Yep. So this is a photo of me when I worked for Mindy Bauer. I think I was like 18 here. And this is my string of horses that summer. And I got all the horses that no one else wanted to ride because I was like the 18-year-old kid. And bending saved me. You know, bending is what kept me safe.
Bend is your friend.
Yes,
That's
100%.
I tell Julie that all the time. The bend is your friend.
Okay, so looking at this, when you bend your horse, it really activates, so it stretches the outside back muscles. And it also lifts up the outside back muscle. So if you bend your horse to the left, the right side of the back has to stretch, and it also lifts up.
Right, because they move their barrel around, optically, but their barrel moves outwards.
And bend also creates a little bit of engagement in the inside hind leg and connects to the outside rein. So bending is kind of like roundness one side at a time. When you can get your horse bending left and right, then they start coming round on their own.
Because they're supple.
Yes. So how can you tell if your horse is bending? This is a little photo from above, from the GoPro. Couple things to notice how you can see, well, you could almost see his inside eyelashes.
Well, you could certainly see the bulge of the eye socket.
Yeah.
Where you can't see it on the other side.
Notice how his neck is like a semicircle. It has a curve to it. It's not like straight. It's not like a pencil pointing straight out in front of me. What do you notice about my hands? This is one of your pet peeves.
The inside rein is away from the neck and the outside rein is against the neck. Oh. And your hands haven't moved. The horse is just filling up the outside edge from the inside leg.
Which is another good point, which is that bending does not come from pulling on the inside rein.
And then we're going to point out something else. So if you see where the nostril is down here, it's not past the point of the shoulder. The right nostril isn't over here past the point of the right shoulder. Because then you would be overbent, which then makes the horse fall on the outside front leg, and then you're drifting sideways. And that's not a bend, that's a horse out of balance. So the horse's nose is in between your hands, as it were. Nose is there in between the hands. The other visual indicator is that the nostril doesn't go beyond the point of the shoulder.
And the bend, you really want it to be from poll to tail. So this is only showing like the front part of the horse. Right. If we go back here.
What they ground into me when I was riding, and it was, you don't want more bend in the neck than you have in the body.
Right.
Because if you've got the bend more in the neck, you've broken the horse at the withers, and now you have two halves of a horse that you cannot connect.
Yeah. But most horses don't bend to the right. Like that's the most common thing we see is falling into the right, counter bending. And until you can get your horse really correctly bending, they're not going to come round. They're not going to be supple or soft.
Right, because the goal is to have them even in both reins.
No, don't chew on my shoe.
The goal is to be even in both reins. And until you have that, that's what you're working on.
Okay, so step 1, 2, and 3. Let me know in the chat which of those 3 steps do you need to focus on the most? If you're in 30 days to round, there's a bunch of exercises for each of those phases. Groundwork, forward, bending, or round. Well, I feel like usually if you can get those 3 working,
the round
comes.
The round just comes.
Yeah.
It's a natural result of the correct riding.
Yeah. And here's one of our students, Amanda, and I love this. She says, 30 years of riding, 2 years trying to get my horse around, 2 weeks to finally get it and feel it. And she says, it must come from the leg first. I've heard that for years. So it is these little light bulb moments of once you figure out the steps that you need to take and you understand the aids, and it's not just driving and pulling, it makes such a big difference. Here's another one from Isabel. She says, I've never found such clear and explicit verbal and visual instruction, even though I've ridden with some very good coaches, which it is amazing that we can actually help people online with their horses.
It is interesting. One of our girls, right, her horse got the neck, and so she's not riding. So they're sharing the horse. And I was like, well, this isn't how we do it, right? I sit, you ride, I tell you, and then we'll do it again tomorrow. But they share the lesson with this horse. and they're still both learning. And the horse, it reminded me of this, right? Because you and I, we both grew up in that. You sit on the horse, we tell you what to do, and now you go home. But
that's hard. It's not necessarily the best way to learn.
Well, I know, but it's certainly familiar. That's what I know. So that's what I do, like all this computer stuff. And this is all new and different. And that's why I just try to stay a little more open-minded with the sharing of the horse. And it's working out great because
she sees her,
right. They're watching and the thing,
hearing.
And, Janie came today way better than when she got off yesterday because of the second half of that horse's lesson. Anyway, it's just
but there's also a little bit of friendly competition, which happens in.
For sure. That. So they're motivating each other. They're pushing each other.
Yeah.
They're learning from each other. And I would have, at first I was like, well, no, you don't do it. I was going to plant my flag, stand on that hill and go, no, that's not how it's done. And I just shut my mouth and I let it fly, and it's going great.
Good job, honey. All right. So here's some of our students. Valerie, before and after. Very cool. Sydney, very cool. Star in a hunter jumper saddle, which is very cool. But what makes me so happy is just knowing that, like, the horse in the after picture, I'm like, I want to ride that horse, right? Like, it just looks so much.
Looks like a good time.
Yeah.
Horse is happy. You could get on there and do some things, give it a pet, and he'll be like, okay, I'll let you. Let's go do it.
Okay. So bottom line is, if you haven't yet, 30 Days to Round is a sequential program where I teach you how to ride round. And it is starting on Sunday. So the link should be either above or below this if you want to sign up. We'd love to have you. I know that a lot of you have already signed up, or if you're in Strides, you have automatic enrollment into the 30 Day to Round Challenge. This is our 4th year doing the challenge, which is fun because we always make it better. We are going to be doing this year live trainings every week, and Herman and I are going to be doing one in the office here, going over the aids for roundness. So that should be a lot of fun.
Are we going to bring out our plastic horse and the saddle on top?
Yes, because everyone loves those demos. And what else about 30 Days to Round? Oh yeah, there's different training plans for different types of horses. So let me know in the chat.
So you should know your horse. You need to know your horse's personality.
Yes.
And its quirks.
But we'll help you with that too.
Right, we got questions.
Yeah.
And if you answer the questions, then you can know your horse better.
But we have a special training plan for hot and spicy, for laid back, for young horses, for older horses, for stiff horses, for curling, because every horse is a little different. So there are certain principles that we follow in training our horses, right? Like the
horse must go forward.
Yes.
Now, how much and when and that varies. But the horse must go forward.
And that's where, because we've worked with hundreds of horses, that we can really quickly identify, like, okay, here's what this horse's issues are. And then here's a plan here's the exercises that will work with that horse, because that's the art of training, is that you have to kind of figure out what exercises or what techniques are going to help your horse the most. So 30 Days to Round is not a one-size-fits-all program. It's really about giving you not only the training plans, but there's also a lot of opportunities for Q&A sessions and for getting a little bit more of that personalized help.
Right, because once you start going down this rabbit hole and you try some things, you're going to have some questions.
Yeah. You do get lifetime access to the challenge, which is awesome. So once you sign up, you have lifetime access. You can access it anytime. You get instant access to all of the content, so you can sign up now and start learning. And it saves you time. So this is one of our students. These pictures are taken 2 weeks apart. You know, when you have this education, it's so helpful. You know, it's going to save you time of doing the wrong thing with your horses.
And make your horse happier.
Yeah.
And that's in the rules now, happy athlete.
Yeah. So it's going to be a busy month. We have a lot going on. Everything is recorded for 30 days to round. So don't panic if you are like, oh my gosh, I can't come live. That's totally fine. You can always watch it. We're also going to be making everything into podcast form. So if you like listening to podcasts, that's really awesome because you can listen while you're driving or riding or doing housework or whatever. And then for our prizes, we have a little bit different this year. So we have a Trotter trophy and a Canner cup like we did for the Canner challenge. So what that means is that if you're only doing walk and trot, you enter the Trotter trophy and you just work on getting your horse rounder and walk and trot. But then if you're cannering, we also have that division as well. So that's going to be a fun little addition.
And that makes it easier too to have the two, that way there's no pressure.
Yeah. Basically, film yourself at the beginning, film yourself at the end, send us your videos. Whoever improves the most wins. You don't have to enter the challenge. So you can totally do 30 days to round and just have it be like you versus you.
Right. Your personal adventure.
Yeah. You don't have to enter the challenge. But basically 30 days to round, when you sign up before Sunday, it's $197. If you sign up after Sunday, it's $297. So we want you to sign up before Sunday because that's when the challenge starts. There's a payment plan of $85 plus 2 additional payments, but there's a ton of content in there. Like it's definitely worth $197 is like
a lesson.
Yes, it's worth it, I think. For most of you, it's probably like 2 lessons. I asked most people pay about $60 a lesson. So it's like 2 or 3 lessons. But like I said, there's a ton of content in there. Let us know in the chat if you have any questions about 30 days to round. We're happy to answer them. Let me stop sharing here. I know a lot of you are already in 30 days to round. Like I know Stacy's in it, Shaughnessy's in it, Betsy's in it. So there's lots of people in it. And let's see. Oh, there were lots of questions from the webinar that I didn't answer the other night. So first question, is it better to start with an egg butt or a loose ring snaffle?
I like the loose ring.
The egg butt an egg butt.
Because it's fixed, it can give you more leverage.
It can give you more leverage and it can help on horses that are fussy.
Yes.
Like usually with a green young horse, I'll start with the egg butt and then I'll go to the loose ring. But remember that it's not so much what bit you use, it's how you use it. That's
for sure
important. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. When trail riding and on the buckle, should the horse be round?
Not in that classic definition of round, but the horse still needs to be forward and stretched to contact.
Yes.
And the example of that would be the Western dressage, right? Those necks are down. There's not really a lot of contact there. They're not making that round horse, but it's still in a balance and stretching.
And the roundness should be accessible. So like when I'm on the trail, I'll let them go on the buckle, but then I'll take them up and kind of check in.
To see that you have those things, the bend, the softness, the forward.
And also that mentally your horse is checked in with you because you don't want your horse to just check out and like lose control on the trail, or you're going to have a runaway or like a spook or something happen.
But you don't want to micromanage it either.
If working with a loose ring bit and my horse refuses, should I be patient and persuade acceptance? A little bit of a weird question. But if your horse refuses, then you need to go back to the phases and the steps that we teach in the program. Because horses don't just they don't just say like,
they're not testing you in that way. They're not understanding.
Yeah.
It's a lack of understanding.
They're not dishonest. So if they're not going round, it's because you're not explaining it to them correctly. So you have to go back and like explain it to them step by step. Can you give one example of good groundwork for a hollow, stiff, or strong horse? bending.
Yeah, my go-to is turn on the forehand.
Yeah.
That's your go-to.
Yeah. Alrighty. Hope to see you all in 30 Days to Round. And we have a lot of exciting things coming up. Thank you all for participating and helping each other in the Facebook group. Orientation.
We should probably answer Kyle's question there.
Orientation is Sunday at 12 noon Pacific time. I'm going to be doing like an overview and talking about some training principles. So if you can't come live, it will be recorded. If you can come live, it's going to be a fun time. What is Kyle's question?
What webinar are you talking about? The one we just did, right?
Well, I did one on Sunday. I did a contact and connection webinar. We just did this webinar, so you can go back and watch it again. And then we're also going to be, yes, so you're correct, Kyle, that 30 Days to Round starts on this Sunday, the 14th. So
you missed nothing.
So you missed nothing.
Okay.
Alrighty. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and hopefully
or
we'll see you on
middle of
Sunday.
the day if you're